I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. Colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? But they're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, and I watch them grow, and they will learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, and I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. Oh, what a wonderful world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unity Temple in the Plaza, a place where diversity is praised and peace and harmony the rewards. I have a few announcements before we begin the service this morning, and I'd like to introduce to you Rory Hutt, who has a very special program coming up next Sunday.
So during the holiday seasons, a lot of people are faced with challenges of different sorts, and one of them would be around the topic of grief. And so next Sunday, the 20th, we're going to have a program called Finding the Gifts in Our Grief. Now, it's very hard to find an inspirational kind of title when it comes to the topic of loss. So that was the best we could come up with, so don't be too judgy on that. But loss isn't just a loss of life. Sometimes it's maybe a loss of ability. Maybe it's a loss of something like your driver's license, or loss of your home, loss of love. There's a lot of different things that we grieve over, and during the holiday seasons we see it a lot, that people really struggle with that. And so this is going to be a great opportunity to hear from two phenomenal people that attend out here. One be Ron McCorkle, and the other one's Diane Snyder. Ron, of course, is just amazing in therapy and so many other areas. Then Diane is an expert in the hospice field and has worked there for a long time, and she's also a death doula. So if you're facing anything that you feel that you would like to talk about, like to learn more about whenever it comes to grief, maybe you're facing a challenge personally, this will be a great time to engage and listen and learn and be a part of that. So that's going to be next Sunday, the 20th, from 4 to 6 p.m. here in the Charles Fillmore Chapel. So you're all welcome to come. If anyone has any questions, please, or feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rory. Well, things seem to be ramping up here at Unity Temple. We have a lot of activities coming up over the next 2 months, moving into the end of the year. The day after Thanksgiving, there's going to be a big potluck dinner, community dinner downstairs in Unity Hall. Everybody's invited. Bring the dish of your choice. Or if you don't have access to food, that's fine. Just come with a smiling face. Also, we will have the Christmas Eve service. There was some talk about maybe not having it this year because Christmas falls on the very next morning. But we're going to have both the Christmas Eve service and a Christmas Day service, which is always a tradition, has been for 75 years in this location. So, why quit now? I think that is about it in regards to announcements, but I welcome you all here, and I look forward to good service. Kelly Hunt is going to be our speaker this morning, and she always leaves a nice feeling in our hearts. And also, Kelly has done a Winter Solstice, which is a CD, and it's all sorts of wonderful, beautiful music for the holidays, but also just for this time of the year. They're for sale in the lobby. If you'd like to get one afterwards, please do so. And she'll also be playing some of the tunes from this CD today at church. So we'll now begin with the temple chimes, the opening prayer, and Kelly Hunt with the call to inspiration. Please say this with me if you choose. On this day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for our individuality. We live without fear to meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice to experience a sense of unity with all people. We honor our earthly environment and recognize a oneness with all creation, in harmony with ourselves, our lives, other people, and all of nature. We live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. Thank you, God. Amen.
Creator of all, you are holy. I call you forth, you are holy. May my whole life become holy. Holy, holy, holy. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. And I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. The cattle are standing like statues. All the cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me ride by, but a little brown maverick is winking his eye. Oh, oh, what a beautiful morning. I said, oh, what a beautiful day. And I got a beautiful, beautiful feeling. Everything is going our way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy miss a tree, and that old weeping willow is laughing at me. What a beautiful morning. Do you feel it? Oh, what a beautiful day. Do you have a beautiful feeling? I hope so. Oh, I know everything's going your way. I want to say it again. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful, beautiful feeling. Everything's going. Everything's going. Everything's going your way. On this beautiful day. Beautiful day. I just feel like I'm dancing now that I played that song. I'm just going to dance back and get my microphone. It is a beautiful day. One of the things I know we've all realized when we got up this morning to come in, it's cold, y'all. Woo! Used to be, sometimes I would hear myself saying, oh, it's so cold, or oh, it's raining, or oh, it's this, it's that. And instead, I had to shift my thinking. I don't know about you. But what was right before my eyes, which is what I'm going to talk about today, is there's beauty everywhere. The divine has shown up today, every day before, and every day to come. In the cold, in the rain, in whatever form it may show up as. An author named Betty Edwards wrote a book called Color, A Course in Mastering the Art of Mixing Colors. And she says, we mostly see what we have learned to expect to see. If we see on our phones or on our thermometer outside that it's 18 degrees when we're getting in the car from Lawrence, Kansas to drive here today, we could think, ooh, child, it's cold. But you know what? Instead, if we can say, I woke up this morning, I'm still on the planet, I'm so glad about that. There are those that aren't, and boy, I'm expecting to have a beautiful morning. See, there's music everywhere. Do you hear that? Allow yourself to be amazed, awestruck, and completely dumbfounded by life's mysteries and magic. We don't have to fully understand everything in life to feel meaningfully alive. That's a quote from Donald T. Ione, who's a doctor of divinity. Oh, meaningfully alive. Wow. Happy World Kindness Day, by the way. Did you know today is World Kindness Day? This is apropos. Well, it's apropos for everybody and every day. It's celebrated annually on the 13th of November. And this thing was started by the World Kindness Movement. I'd never heard of them. I don't know about you, but I'm in 1998. So it's fairly new, and it's observed in many countries around the world. World Kindness Day, which is a big part of what I'm feeling when I walk into this building. I have a new vocabulary today, I forgot to tell you. But I feel it when I walk in here. Kindness, welcome. Do you feel that when you walk into Unity Temple? Do you feel that here? I'm going to give it a hand. That's right. I certainly do, and I'm so grateful that I keep being asked back. How about that? Well, shoot, I'm in. You know, something else I was thinking about today surrounding the idea of what's right before our eyes What did we expect to see? And how can we shift that paradigm of our thinking to see the divine? As I'm thinking of Joy Weiler this morning. Who here knew Joy? Yeah. The last time I was here, Joy and her daughter Carrie were sitting right over there, and I thought, oh boy, I got to go over and say hi. I met Joy many, many years ago at a retreat out at Unity Village that Paulette Pipe was leading. I was doing music for. And I saw Joy speak at many different Unity churches, including the one in Lawrence where I live. And she was such an interesting person, and I know many of you know her a lot better than I did. But here's what I did know about her, and how she made me feel. When I saw Joy across the room, I thought, all right. She always smiled. We always sat down and spoke. There was something interesting that she was going to say, and she was always very, very kind to me. And as my grandmother would say, Joy moved on up a little higher this last week. And her presence, her physical presence, is missed. But I still feel her in the building. I still feel her here. And World Kindness Day is the perfect day for me to think of somebody like Joy. I know there's somebody that you might be thinking of too. When you think of that person, you can't help but smile. Who would that be for you? Just take a second to think. You just visualize this person walking in the room, whether they're alive or not. If they were to walk in those doors and come down this aisle and they looked at you, who's that person for you? Well, I want to tell you a story about somebody that has been that person for me over the years, starting way, way back. Many years ago, when I was 10, my parents talked me into taking piano lessons. Didn't want to do it, had no interest in it. I was already playing piano when I started at 3 by ear. I was like, I don't need to read music. Of course, I was 10. I didn't know anything about that. I just knew if I heard a song on the radio, I was going to sit down and try to pick it out on the piano. I did that for our little variety show and tell in 3rd grade. Once, I think it was once a month, our teacher would have the old piano, spinet piano, rolled into the room, and any of the kids could have a 3 to 5 minute share, and it could be anything they wanted. But if you wanted to sit down and play piano, because a lot of kids were taking lessons, you could. And so I thought, oh, right, you know. So I sat down, and I played Ring of Fire. And my teacher said, wow, okay, good. What I didn't know, and this is a story my mom just told me, I don't know, a couple years ago. She went and got the principal and said, hey, get a load of this kid. She's sitting down playing Ring of Fire. Not chopsticks, not, the usual 3rd grade repertoire. I didn't know that. I just thought, well, hot dog, let's sit down and play. So it was hard for me to accept the fact that I was supposed to take piano lessons and learn how to read music. I looked at that and I said no. And fortunately for me, my mom said, oh, yes. She took me to 5 piano teachers. Every teacher said, you will not play by ear anymore. You're only going to play music. And I went home crying every single time. And my mom knew better. And she had heard about this woman named Mary Burke Norton. And I had written a song about Mary and recorded it. It's on one of my albums called Queen of the 88s. And to look at Mary, as a 10-year-old child, when I looked at her, I got scared, y'all. She wore really bright red wigs, and she smoked a cigarette. She was kind of short and to me looked very, very large, and she talked like this. And I was like, well, if that's what's right before my eyes, I don't want anything to do with this. And so she asked me when my mom took me over there to meet her the first time. She said, well, tell me, why are you here? What do you want to do? And by that time, I was kind of traumatized by 5 teachers saying, oh, no more playing by ear for you, young lady. And I was upset. And I thought this woman right there was going to say the same thing. So I got kind of defiant. And I said, well, I do not want to take piano lessons from you. I was 10. And I met my match. And she said, well, I do not feel like teaching you anything today anyway. Tell me what you want. Don't tell me what you don't want. And boy, that was a great lesson right then and there. And something clicked in my little 10-year-old brain, and I went, tell her what I want? I said, all right. I'd like to learn how to play boogie woogie. I'd like to learn how to do both hands doing something different at the same time. And I thought, this will be it. I'll get to go home, and I won't have to mess with this anymore. And she said, all right, let's go. Dropped her cigarette, grabbed me by the hand, went in the little house, sat down at the one piece of furniture in her living room. And in the song it says, a chocolate brown baby grand piano. She sat down and she said, is this what you want to learn? And she whipped out some boogie woogie. And I went, uh-oh, yeah, that's it. So one day, I was riding my bike from school to go to her house. I went every Thursday. Now, I'd been going to Mary for about 2 years by then. I was in 7th grade. And this is how kindness showed up for me that day, through Mary Burke Norton, who visually, when you looked at her, you might want to run the other way. When you heard her talk, you really wanted to go. But I knew better. She loved children. She loved to teach. She was a joy and one of the kindest people I know. Well, I just gotten out of 7th grade. It's the end of the day. I went to get my bike, and some boys were teasing me about something. It was about my glasses. And back then, my glasses had a little thing that went up, had sparkles on them. I thought they were the best glasses in the whole wide world. Well, these boys were teasing me about those, and I slipped and fell as I was trying to get away from them, and it hurt a lot, and I laid there on the sidewalk, and they were laughing at me. And I thought, I'm not going to cry, not going to cry. Got on my bike, and then when I got away from them, I cried all the way to Mary Burke's house and thought, okay, well, I'll just get to my lesson. I'll be all right. 7th grader. I walked in. I put my music on the piano. It was one of those days we alternated. 1 week we'd do by ear. 1 week we would do by the page, learn the page. And I had my pages there, and I put them up. And I sat at the piano. I was determined to do some playing that day. And the minute I started crying. I had tears running down my face, and I kept playing. I thought, I'm going to do this. And she came over, and she put her hand on my back, and she said, come with me. She closed my book. Oh, man, I didn't know what was going to happen. We went outside. We got in her little blue Dodge Dart, which I'd never been in before. You know how when you're a kid, you don't visualize your teachers driving or being out in the world. Oh, my gosh, we got in the Dart, and we drove about 4 blocks away to the Dairy Queen. And she had me sit out. They had a picnic table outside. She had me sit there while she went up to the window, and she ordered 2 big giant parfaits, big old things. If you've ever seen those, it has every kind of ice cream and whipped cream and cherries and nuts, and they were about this tall. And to me, they looked about that tall. She got one for her, one for me, came back to the table, put one in front of me. We sat there, didn't say a word, just ate our parfaits. Gradually, I quit thinking about the mean boys, and gradually I started not crying, and pretty soon I was thinking about, boy, this ice cream's pretty darn good. I've never had a parfait, but I'm going to finish this thing. And when we got done, we got back in the blue Dodge Dart. We drove back to her little house. We went inside, and she looked at her watch. She goes, okay, well, our lesson's over. And she looked at me, and only thing she said was, sometimes it's not a good day to play. And she never asked me about it again. And I thought, oh, thank you. I walked out of there feeling 10 feet tall, very full, and happy as a clam. That's what kindness looks like. What was right before her eyes was a little girl who was clearly upset, who usually just trotted into lessons, galloping in, couldn't wait to sit down and start playing. And this one time, although I kept playing, I was crying, and she saw it, but she saw more than that. She saw it was time for me to think about something else. It was time for her to engage with me in a different way, with kindness. She not only saw with her physical eyes, I think the divine just flowed right through that woman on a regular basis. And there it was showing up for me that day. There's a story about two dogs that go into a room, and their owner is somewhere else in the house, and they walk in, and one dog comes out growling. Oh, this dog is really looking mean and all puffed up. You know how dogs get when they arch their back and the fur goes, that's what this dog looked like. She thought, oh my gosh, what's going on in that room? And the next dog came out happy, wagging its tail, just panting and kind of leaping around and just having a good old time. And she thought, what in the world is going on? She walked into the room, and the room was filled with mirrors. The happy dog found 1,000 happy dogs looking back at him, while the angry dog only saw angry dogs growling back at him. And what you see in the world around you is a reflection of who you are. Is it a cold, miserable morning, or is it another bonus day on the planet? How are we feeling about that? So if we pay attention with mindfulness, what's happening around you right now? You know, as you go through your day, I feel like our lives are just little moments in time. They're like little droplets of water. We can miss them. They can be gone. We can miss the beautiful flowers that are up here. We can miss, you know, the people that are sitting in the row with us. We can miss the beautiful windows that are in here. What's happening around you right now? And if we use all 5 of our senses, and then we tap into our other senses, our intuition, our awareness that we have the divine within us 24/7, not just when we come into the building, not just when we're feeling happy, not just when things are going well, all the time. What do you see around you with the eyes of the divine? What do you see? And one of the things that can help us do that, unlock that, is gratitude. We have Thanksgiving coming right up, and we have a lot to be grateful for. Many of us do. The divine is everywhere, and it's all in how we see it. When I was a young single mom, and my son and I would go outside if it was a rainy day, sometimes I'd start thinking, oh, geez, you know, I got to drive in this rain, going to get wet when we go out. And the first thing my son would always say is, free car wash. And so I thought, well, A, where the heck did he get that? And B, what a great perspective. He saw the rain through the eyes of a child, but I would also say and suggest through the eyes of the divine. And to him it meant free car wash. We lived in the country, so the roads were gravel, and so the car many times had a lot of dust on it. But not when it rained. It's like, hot dog, free car wash. Well, my son is 37 now, and he is a father himself. And you know what he says every time it rains? Free car wash. And instead of squelching that and saying, oh, it's raining, blah, 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 he helped me shift my thinking. He saw with a different set of eyes than I did. So gratitude can reframe what we see and how we see it. If we expect the unexpected, the divine is everywhere and can be surprising in how and when it shows up. We got a great big surprise last year, and it was a really big surprise that we were going to be having a granddaughter soon. Whoa, that was a surprise. And she's just a little over a year now, old now. Her name is Isabel Hazel, and she's just a as my grandpa would say, she's a pistol in a good way. And she has reframed our thinking to show us and remind us where that joy is. Where the heck is that joy? Well, the joy could be in a banana. Ooh, the joy could be in a bouncing ball. The joy could be when you're running up to throw your hands up so Grandpa can pick you up and hug you and kiss you. She is reframing and reminding us. Oh, that divine is everywhere, everywhere. It is within you that the divine lives, says Joseph Campbell. We're God's hands and feet and eyes and ears. We're all those things. So what's right before your eyes at this very moment, where you are? How is the divine showing up for you and through you? Is it in the compassion that you feel for somebody else? Is it in the seemingly small things that you remember or that you are experiencing at the grocery store or the hospital or in line at the drive-thru when you're at home doing dishes? I think sometimes my thinking can be limited in thinking, oh, it's got to be a big deal for me to say, wow, that was really something. Boy, God showed up this morning, showed up today. But I don't think that it does. I think it can show up in a parfait. It can show up in a free car wash. It can show up right now, right here. So I recommend that, well, maybe a little more than this, but at least once a day, pause and take a relaxed, deep breath and really feel the relief of having enough air. Let's do that right now. Let's take a deep breath. If we're blessed enough to have enough air to breathe, ooh, that's a good day. The importance and connection to the divine through our own breath and through our own bodies, because obviously we're in a physical body as well. Breathing can help calm us down. Breathing can help us see things just a little bit differently. How can you show up as the divine presence for somebody else today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year? Just for one small moment, how can you show up as the divine? What would that look like? And how have you done that in the past? How has somebody done that for you in the past? Joseph Campbell says, remember, it is within you that the divine lives. We all know that. You can know something intellectually and not necessarily put it into practice. I feel like it's a lifetime growth for me as a human being, not only to remember those things, but to act on it. There's a song that I've sung here before called Burning Fields, which is about, in Kansas, they burn the fields to kind of clean them out and make way for the new growth in the spring. It usually happens around April or so. And when I was a little kid, boy, it used to really scare me, especially at night. Have you ever driven through an area where they're doing a control burn at night and all the fields are on fire and there's this kind of a orange glow coming up from the horizon and a lot of smoke? It can be kind of scary. And so what appeared to be scary to an inexperienced child was actually something necessary, something beautiful. Because sure enough, shortly after that, when all these fields were cleared, green sprouts of grass were coming up. And a lot of the weeds and the thistle and the brush that was keeping that from happening was burned away in a safe, controlled way. There's a line that says, sometimes in spring, even though it looks so green, these old fields need room, you see. for new life to grow. And things are not always what they seem to be. So what is right before your eyes today? And how can you see it differently? How can you allow that divine vision to come through today? I love the song, "Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way." Well, if that is a prime example, if ever there was one, of setting your intention. You might not even know what's going on outside today. It may not look physically beautiful to you when you look out the windows or you walk out the door. But if you say, "Man, oh, what a beautiful morning. What a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling," whether you have one or not. That's the trick. Do you feel it yet? If you can feel it in your body, it's not saying, "Well, it's not raining outside." It's saying it may be snowing, sleeting, and everything. But if you say, "Oh, I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way," whether you believe it at that moment or not. Fake it till you make it. You know how that feels. I know we all do. When I was little, I read the book The Little Prince when I was younger. And I know a lot of us have. I love this line from that book. And I think it relates to what I'm saying today, which is, "And now here is my secret," a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. And what is essential is invisible to the eye. I invite you to see, as best you can, what is invisible to the eye, and see and feel with the divine. My father, his eyesight is diminishing. He has macular degeneration. He's 95 years old, and at this point, there's nothing they can do about it. And he was an active businessman. He was a teacher. He was a leader in the community, a voracious reader, a wonderful writer. In fact, he just dictated a letter to be put into the Emporia Gazette in Emporia, Kansas. And he found a way to see differently. And I have been in awe of that man. In awe. Not that he doesn't have hard days. I was just there a couple of days ago. And he manages to navigate safely through their house. He can see a little bit. If he wants to see something on the television screen, he has to get right up next to it. My mom will sit there and tell him the scores of the ball game, what's going on. Oh, they'll be watching the Chiefs today. And he'll be listening to it. He's found other ways to see. And when I was there, he can't necessarily see what I have on or what my hair looks like or what condition I might physically be in. But when he comes in, he puts his hands on me and he goes, "Oh, you look beautiful today. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I have got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going our way." Thank you.
As we move into meditation today, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on Joy Weiler, the person that Kelly talked about, and also another person named Larry Hall, who lived in the Manse for 10 years, vital part of this community. Joy was our youth education director, and she was just phenomenal. To watch her was inspirational because she was a little person, a dwarf, but she took on challenges that were mountain-sized and overcame them. So can we please have a picture of Joy Weiler? And Joy went in for surgery. It was relatively supposed to be a common surgery, but something happened on the table, and she didn't come back. Another one is Larry Hall, as I mentioned before. He lived next door in the Manse, and about 7 months ago, he came down with an illness that was incurable, and so he made his passing. So to both of them, we say the light of God surrounds you, The love of God enfolds you too. The power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. We'll now move into meditation.
On a day like this, it all comes clear. What we've done before, what we're doing here. On a day like this, it all slows down. And what's been given comes back around. Oh, when love finds its way to you, it shines like the stars to light a path before you, show you who you are, oh, to take you in its arms and give you one sweet taste of bliss. On a day like this, it takes your breath away, gives you all that you hope for, bright as this brand new day. On a day like this, on a day like this.
And as we move into meditation, take a moment to find a comfortable place in your seat. Take a deep breath, slowly exhale. And then another deep breath. And as you exhale, feel yourself becoming more and more relaxed, more and more at ease. Find yourself going deeper and deeper into that special place within where there's always peace, always a sense of serenity. It's a retreat from the chaos, the confusion, the problems and challenges of life. Your special place for you and you alone to just rest and reflect and realize it truly is a beautiful day. In the silence. And we slowly begin to come back to this time and this place. And as we come back, take a deep breath. And as you exhale, do so with a sense of excitement and enthusiasm for the life that you have to live, for the day that lies before you, for all the beauty in the world. And we go forth and live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. And so it is.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look all around, nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. Oh, I can see clearly now. All the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Oh, yes, I can. And here is that rainbow I have been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Sing it with me. It's gonna be a bright. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Feels so good, I wanna do it again. Gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
Thank you, Kelly. Hasn't this been just a fun, happy-go-lucky day? Kelly Hunt always lifts my spirits. Thank you so much. So this concludes our service for the day. Once again, thank you for coming. And to all the streamers out there, sometimes I neglect saying hi to you. Sometimes I just ignore you altogether. But believe me, we know you're out there. And there'll be a little sign on the screen afterwards where you can give some money if you'd like. So just know that we love you too and we bless you as you're home in your cozy little home, pajamas, drinking coffee, pausing us when you don't like parts of the service, or fast forwarding it and all those things. So we'll now close with the prayer for protection and the peace song. Please say this with me if you choose. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God God is, and all is well.